can't attack or block, but when you're going to basically turn it into another creature off Birthing Ritual, it does become very powerful. Shaving down a little bit on the Oculus, not on a full playset here, because we get some other tools. So what do you think about this Bant version of the deck?
There are a lot of interesting choices in this deck. So Unable to Scream, 2 copies in the main deck. It's not a card that most ritual decks play, but also it makes some sense because blue-green colors are notoriously poor at answering creatures, so having this efficient way of interacting with opposing threats is pretty nice. Wall of Runes as well. That's a heavy commitment because it's an 0-4 that I assume has been brought because Carlo envisioned a lot of Boros in the field. So having this nice blocker early on that can also be used with Ritual, basically to speed up your plan. You can go Wall of Runes turn 1, scry towards your engine pieces, and then it's a fodder for Flare of Denial as well, which is important given that Storm has been one of the most popular decks as well. So having more early interaction is great, and Flare of Denial is a fantastic counterspell if you get to have a body at the ready. It's also a main deck Crystal Barricade, which gives you hexproof against Grapeshot, as well as prevent all non-combat damage dealt to other creatures you have. So it plays a double duty of being a speed bump for Storm decks. I think that most of the time you can still win with Storm through this card if you start going off, but also like just helps against Flage, helps against Galvanic Discharge of Boros. So we'll see. It's a very interesting list.
Yeah, I think it's going to be cool that like I've been seeing a lot of the Simic stuff, but this is going to be my first time seeing the Bant version. And like you said, there's a lot of little like one of toolboxy cards that are in the list to kind of help it out. So like to help in the meta that we currently have, like you mentioned, against like the Boros Energy, against the Storms, stuff like that. But a turn 1 Ragavan is a really nice way to start things off for a Boros Energy player because, you know, sometimes you can kind of run away with things, get a lot of chip damage in on your opponent, get a lot of cards that you could potentially cast as well if there's some tools. And there's a lot of low drop stuff in a Birthing Ritual deck, so you might be able to steal something of value off this Ragavan here.
Yeah, and Wall of Runes would be really nice here. Sadly, just an untapped land. Oh, Ephara's Dispersal. So
bounce it back.
Yeah, it's a card that saw play in Omniscience deck in Standard, which is 3 mana, bounce a creature, and surveil 2. But if you target an attacking creature, it costs only 1 mana. So just a very nice answer to Ragavan. And once again, lets you dig towards your important pieces.
Yeah, and we got to see the throwing of a Birthing Ritual into the graveyard there. So that could also give some information there of like, okay, you already have one in your hand if you're throwing some off the top there. So, you know, a follow-up of another Ragavan there. So no like setup with any energy generation yet. And I like this sort of just like, we're going to play it kind of calm and set up here and wait and see kind of how Carlo's going to be responding to this because you know he's already bouncing it and spending resources to try to get rid of it. But okay, our first little bit of power with the cat Ocelot Pride going to be coming down here.
Yeah, and as you said, if you see Carlo putting Birthing Ritual into the graveyard as Giovanni, I think the 2 things that comes to mind for you are 1, Carlo has another Birthing Ritual in hand, like you mentioned. Or the second one is that Carlo is looking for a land. Because you obviously want your namesake card to be drawn. So if you elect to put Birthing Ritual into the graveyard, it's most likely because you are missing some other critical pieces, or you already have 1 copy. And you'd rather
both of those give you information, which is great, right? Like seeing that stuff, you're like, okay, cool. I'm clocking that and seeing what's going on. Also, love the Buzz Lightyear sweatshirt. That's awesome. Just wanted to make note of that. That Giovanni's got going on there. But again, this like I like that we're seeing just sort of this like land go on the right side of the table to start off round one. We had our like flash player in game one here, and now we've got, of course, the birthing ritual side. But it's like, okay, cool. I'll wait. I'm going to do something here, and it looks like we are going to be flashing in our Ice Fang Quaddle here. A little bit of a draw effect. We don't have enough snow permanents to give it death touch at the moment, but still a 1/1 is enough to be able to do some blocking as need be.
Yeah, and I think there was a little hand motion from Giovanni that signified passing the turn, which would be weird. Yeah, because you should just attack with your pride into a potential Quattle, given that it has first strike. And I think that Giovanni's hand now, definitely I saw a Flage. But we also see, I think this is the Guide of Souls, the new promo version of Guide of Souls.
Ooh, yeah.
That you were able to win in the last round of Store Championships. Which is obviously immensely powerful with Ocelot's Pride.
Oh my gosh, they like how much energy we're going to start making off of all the cats that start popping out, which then gain us life, which then helps us get to that like city's blessing. It's just such a like great synergy between those two. Exactly. There's our first little cat there. And there's what looks like our energy tracker there. I always like when players are using different tokens to represent stuff like in there. Like, okay, that's clearly a cat. We all see that,
Yeah.
Ooh, birthing ritual. Okay. So we're ready. We're ready to start deploying some stuff, getting actually into our game plan here. Like, what are we hoping to see off the top of the 7?
First, we are hoping to get to resolve the trigger because there are some Traben charms that can go go and disrupt us. But luckily for us, we didn't saw one. But unluckily for us, I think there is a creature. Okay, and it's Extraction Specialist. That's actually a pretty great one. Here, so as you mentioned previously, the creature that gets returned can't attack or block for as long as Extraction Specialist is on the table. But I think it enters untapped, so that's pretty nice. If Giovanni has a removal spell for Specialist pre-combat, then you can still get to block with your Cattle, which is nice.
Yeah, I actually like the Extraction Specialist a lot added into the Birthing Ritual list. I think that adds like a nice little avenue. Also, it's, a 3/2 with lifelink as well. So like that can be pretty relevant. It's pretty beefy overall as a creature here. So, I like that. Just kind of hiding it underneath and being like, hey, this can't attack or block. It's on the battlefield, but it's not really here. All right. So I like that sort of just sequencing stuff to kind of help keep track for both the players here in this. But what do we got? Okay. So are we discarding? Are we going to make some tokens here? I mean, looks like nope. Flare is going to get used. That basically turning that Ice Fang Quaddle into a tool to be able to counter that. I like that. Not letting kind of Giovanni run away with things here.
Yeah, that's a very nice usage of your creature that is unable to brawl in combat. Just finding an alternate way to utilize it.
Okay, looks like we're okay with trading off here. Ragavan's the only creature coming across at this point in time. We'll do a little bit of trade, gain some life off it, but then also basically says there are no creatures out at the moment. So it's going to be on Carlo to resolve something if he wants to be able to utilize that Birthing Ritual next turn.
Yeah, I think what's nice about this turn for Carlo is that Giovanni didn't get any life on their turn, and did not trigger the Ocelot Pride.
Yeah, no Ocelot Pride, no Guide of Souls, no extra energy, no extra life, no extra creatures even. So that one creature he tried to deploy wasn't going to make it happen. But Oculus there. So that Surveil pitching another card into the graveyard. Let's get rid of some of these cards we don't need. And now we can really start to kind of make things happen here. Now we'll still be able to look at our top 7. We don't have to actually utilize it and get rid of anything here off the Oculus, but it still is nice to kind of get some information maybe of what is at the top, and because that also can track of going, all right, I know I've got a birthing ritual in my graveyard right now, I've got one on the battlefield, there's one in this top 7, so that means there's less likely to find that, or maybe some of the other tools later on.
Yeah, exactly. And this matchup, I think, is one that favors, or at least the traditional blue-green deck, which I think will be the case with Bant as well, is it favors Bant, of the birthing ritual side, mostly because of Oculus. We saw Carlo only playing 2 Oculuses, devoting some of the slots to combat other strategies, but they managed to draw one of the 2. That's why you put cards in the deck, because you want to draw them. And definitely a formidable threat on this board. Can't really be flaged down. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. But Ajani, great tool for Giovanni right now, because it makes blocking these cats so hard.
Yeah, Johnny's here. I mean, and now we can also start just kind of throwing cats at our opponent. That way, like, if any get blocked, we're like, cool, Johnny flips. Now I get even more tools.
Yep. What's the one saving grace for Carlo here is that Giovanni doesn't have any red permanent. So even if Ajani flips on this turn, there is a good chance that Carlo can just kill Ajani with Oculus next turn.
True.
So we'll see. We'll see if Carlo chooses to block. I think there's a good reason not to do so. That's only an attack for 1. You're at 18 life. I think you can afford to not block, because the danger of drawing not drawing, but playing Ragavan post combat and just flipping the Ajani and killing your Oculus is just too high.
Right.
Because I think at that point Carlos' hand were subtlety.
The Storm Drake flip here. So that's a cool little. I like these little additions we talk about here. So Volatile Storm Drake, normally lets us be able to get energy and be able to swap and steal creatures and stuff like that. But it's also a 3/2 flyer here. So this gives us like access to multiple flyers, multiple evasive creatures that we can start putting some pressure on our opponent with. And I like the idea of just kind of keeping the Oculus back for now and then going to end step with the birthing ritual trigger.
Yeah. And already seeing at least an Ice-Fang Cattle that will keep the cards churning and the combat sort of locked up. And in Carlos' hand, choose to take nothing. That's quite interesting.
So why would we go for that? Like, are we just much happier with what we've got available to us out here? It's like a 3/2 flyer, a 5/5. Like we are relying on those and keeping those with the pressure going more than the card advantage here. Is that kind of the logic, maybe?
Yeah, I think so. I think Carlo just values a free power flyer more than they value an extra card. That's an interesting approach to the matchup, particularly because it's notoriously hard to raise Guide of Souls and Ocelot Pride. It's very hard to do so. But on this board, it looks like Carlos comfortable doing just so. There is definitely a flage, as I mentioned previously, in Giovanni's hand. Also, Giovanni is stuck on 3 lands, which is less than ideal for them. Carlos' hand is definitely subtlety. There is an endurance and second birthing ritual, as well as I think Ice-Fang Cattle. So they can pitch cast both subtlety and endurance if something goes awry. And now it's an interesting choice because, well, first of all, I don't know which token is the 2/1 token and which is the 1/1 token. I
believe the one that doesn't have the counters is the Ajani token.
Yeah, I think so as well, because I think the other token was there first before Ajani resolved. So now I think not flashing in Ice and Cattle is a wise choice because you can still keep up the subtlety.